Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Can you guys hear me? Awesome, thank you. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to our Horizen Weekly Insider. This is the Weekly Insider number 43. Today is June the 4th. This weekly live stream is being broadcasted in YouTube as well as in our Discord channel. So happy Thursday to you all. Please remember that this call is being recorded and is going to be available later in a podcast as well for you to check out. Please remember also to be asking your questions on Menti while this call is happening so we can have our good Q&A session at the end. I'll welcome now Luca from the engineering department to give us the updates.
Thank you, Angie. So 2 days ago, we had our scheduled Zendi deprecation. Thanks everybody who contributed to it, from the development to infrastructure to marketing to project management. Everybody did a great teamwork. And also the final result is another Zendi software fully functioning in production, ran by all our partners. So that was great. And moreover, also Sphere by Horizen 1.2.7 beta was released. Also there another successful launch with no regressions. Plus we are already working on the next version, and we'll let you know soon what will be the contents. Now, for what regards Horizen Sidechains, I have a few notes here with me. We are almost at the end of the super long pull request of 25,000 lines. So in these precise minutes, Alberto is on a code review sessions to continue that. That's why he's not here with us today, at least for the moment. We covered about 95% of it, so only the very last part is still missing. And of course, during all these code review sessions, let me say a number of changes were requested, but that's totally normal, and the majority of these requests has already been done, so has already been addressed. Fun fact about it, the pull request where all this code is being reviewed and commented became so huge that GitHub couldn't display it anymore. So a rainbow of unicorn appears displaying something like an error message. But no worries, of course, we found an alternative way to keep looking at it. And so that was just a fun fact. Anyway, what's missing ahead is finishing this pull request, reviewing the modifications, the ones that were requested that I was talking about, and finishing the review of another important piece, the proof introduction and verification, but that was started already in parallel. Moreover, we are also writing the documentation for SDK beta, which at the end of the story is what the final user, so the developer, will be looking at when building the applications. Huge shout out to the dev team for what they're doing. They've been working non-stop in the last period, and we really can't wait to see beta out. And also a few words on the other projects. We are working on the Sphere by Horizen version that integrates sidechain comments. We have finished the first level of code review. A few things were requested for some changes also here, but those have already been performed and re-reviewed, let me say. So the code is now ready for the final code review. For what regards the new Explorer for main chain that will also see the existing sidechains, we have added the sidechain seized detection, meaning that a flag is returned in the sidechains list and details are provided to notify if any withdrawal certificate for that sidechain has been submitted on time. So the only things, plural, that we still have to do on the backend side are the unit tests and the integration tests. But we are already doing this in parallel, and after, only the front-end piece and code review will be left. So that's it. Back to Angie now.
Thank you, Luca. Let's continue with Alan for some node updates.
Thank you, Angie. I got a couple items. The deprecation effect on the tracking system the other day. There were a number of nodes that did not get updated, so there was a slight increase in the earnings for all the other nodes that were on the system. Same thing happened both to the secure nodes and a little bit more significantly on the super nodes. There were a significant amount of super nodes that were not updated in time, and there was a bit of a bump in the allocation, but that is back to normal as of yesterday. Whoever hadn't updated got their nodes updated. We also had an event yesterday with the secure nodes. We had some sort of connections on the sockets, an excessive number of those. We don't know what it actually was, if it was somebody who just got a script stuck or was trying to do something with the nodes and the tracking system. We had to ban that IP in Cloudflare, and all of the secure node tracking servers had to be restarted. But everything looks fine today. No more issues with that. It looks like it was probably just a one-off issue. Also, any of the nodes that were affected with downtimes were excluded for that time period, so it shouldn't have any effect on earnings for any of those nodes. Back to you, Angie.
Thank you, Alan. Let's continue with Ruben for the Helpdesk updates.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so Ruben here from Mexico, and I will be giving you this Weekly Insider, the Helpdesk report. So this week we had a total of 259 tickets, and as we can see the percentages, 91.5 were taken from the faucet and 8.5 were other tickets. If we see the other tickets details, we see that the second product with most common issues was a Sphere. Let's start with the faucet. So the most common issue within the faucet was a payment issue that we had over the weekend, but it was quickly solved, actually pretty quickly by our developers. So big shout out to Mac and Tuan for noticing it and fixing, and also to the Helpdesk team for providing support to all the users. All payments were clear within a day, and it was all thanks to our mitigation strategy. So good work. Okay, so talking about Sphere, the most common issues were people having problems forgetting the login credentials. We kindly instruct them on how to restore their seed with their secret phrase, and also reminded them that the Horizen team is not able to reset login credentials on this wallet, on all the wallets basically. And that's it from my side. That was all from the Helpdesk report. Back to you, Angie.
Thank you, Ruben. Let's continue with Gustavo for the UX updates.
Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday. So right now we are working with Infra to set up a new version of the faucet targeted for the sidechain beta. We want to make it as easy as possible for future developers to have access to testnets in. And regarding HD, we are approaching the final stage of development. So basically, the last few weeks, we've been just incorporating feedback from our engineering team. And that's all.
Thank you, Gustavo. Let's continue with Rowan for some BD updates.
Hello, everyone. So quite a few different, pretty interesting projects ongoing at the moment. We're doing, or the BD team are assisting with a developer outreach program in preparation for the launch of the sidechain beta preview. So helping the engineering team really gather up a nice large pipeline of developers that are interested in jumping in and finding out a little bit more about what the sidechain SDK can do and what can be built on top of it. Also reaching out to a variety of game developers to try and gather interest in adding games onto the community hub, the Faucet. It's an ongoing conversation. Actually speaking to quite a large game developer in Scotland right now, which is pretty exciting because that's where I'm from, and it's kind of cool and refreshing to hear some Scottish accents after so long of being in Panama. Just been tasked with a really cool new project that I think is probably long overdue, to be completely fair. Something we started tackling a couple of years ago, and we kind of put it by the wayside just because at the time we didn't really have all of the different infrastructure requirements that we'd really need to make a good go of it to actually kick it off. So now starting to brainstorm how we can get a decent merchant ecosystem up and running. So at the moment, you can spend Zen in quite a good amount of places. What we really want to do is massively expand that utility and really start putting a focus on pulling merchants into the ecosystem. So it's quite early days here. I've just cleared my whiteboard in the office and starting to brainstorm ideas. Going to be pulling in a variety of different people from all over the organization to try and assist with this mission. And I'll probably start posting a couple of pictures and sneak kind of previews of what we're thinking over social media in the next couple of days. Also working on a project with Rolf and Maurizio about things we can do to really increase adoption. And in this, we're kind of looking across a variety of different blockchains and trying to see what works well in other areas and try and gather ideas of what we can pull in, what tools are required, things like that, to really kind of supercharge what's happening within our own ecosystem. Also continuing exchange outreach. On that front, there's a new listing to announce today, which you've probably seen across social media if you're paying attention. That is CoinSpot. These guys are based over in Australia. So it's coinspot.com.au. And that exchange will allow you to buy Zen directly with Australian dollars. It'll also allow you to swap with a variety of other cryptocurrencies that are in there. And they have the usual kind of stop loss and limit orders and things like that. But they're kind of focused on really, really easy to use interface. So when you go into their site, you'll see it's pretty clean, pretty slick. I'm going to post a screenshot here in the Weekly Insider chat just so you can kind of see. I'm sure a bunch of you are already going on to the URL anyway. And that's pretty much the primary updates from me. There's a few other things ongoing in the background that it's just too early to talk about. But for now, that's the main updates from me at BD. Vano, if you want to jump in, please feel free to do so.
Hello, everyone. So today our post about our upcoming sidechain beta test callout went live in 4o'clock Hub, our Russian language platform to reach our community there. Also, the post includes more general information about explaining our sidechain technology in Russian language as well. And also, I'm working this week to reach more developers in Eastern European markets so that more have the possibility to taste our tech early. That's my main focus this week. Back to you, Angie.
Thank you, guys. Let's continue now. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's continue now with Lucy for the marketing updates.
Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday and happy June. So first of all, so sorry for not muting myself earlier and you had to endure my super loud typing. So, but I think I may beat Gustavo and win the loudest typer award next year. Okay, so we celebrated our 3rd anniversary last week virtually with our team and community. So I really want to thank everyone who for showing up at our last Weekly Insider and joining the event with us. And then also congrats to the 3 winners for winning a cool wallet during our last Weekly Insider. So as a part of the celebration, we also hosted a competition. So we asked our community to join the celebration in a creative way. So the submission ended yesterday and the voting is starting today. So we have top 15 entries open for community voting. Please vote for your favorite entries by this Sunday. So we will have 6 winners. The first place winner will win a hardware wallet, cool wallet. And then the other 5 winners will win different dollar amount to use in our swag store. So you should be able to find the link for the competition on our social media feed. We also released a call out to all Java developers as our sidechain beta release is around the corner. We are inviting all Java developers who are interested in being the first ones to use our new sidechain beta SDK to build anything they want. Okay, so by responding to our call out, the developer will be added to our early adopter list, and then they will receive the exclusive developer invitation and updates upon the arrival of our sidechain beta. And then also, as Rowan just mentioned, that Zen is entering the gaming world. So a game called House of Crypto integrated Horizen into their game. So House Crypto is a game with the mission to educate people about cryptocurrencies and blockchain. Players in the game choose a house. They can play to win coin house rewards every week. And then, of course, there's a House of Horizen in the game. So make sure you put your game face on and be ready to fight for the House of Horizen against the others. And the game is releasing soon, so stay tuned. And then there will be more game that we will be integrating onto our faucet as well. And then Jonathan should have more information about that. And that's it from me. Thank you, everyone, and pass it to you, Jonathan.
Hey, thanks, Lucy. Yeah, excited to represent the House of Horizen. On my end, just a lot of prep work for a pipeline. So setting that up requires, a new website, letterhead, Crunchbase account, all of that kind of administrative work. So I've been working hard. We're making really good progress there. And the whole pipeline team is just really excited to start making an impact on Zen. Should have a bit more updates next week. But FCAS still going strong in terms of what we're doing with the faucet. We're seeing a really steady increase upwards for our FCAS, and really excited because we're really just getting started. And I think that with Pipeline, we're really going to be able to supercharge everything that we're doing, and I can't wait to see the results. And that's it for me today.
Thank you, Lucy and Jonathan. Let's continue with Rosario for Product and Engineering.
Hi everyone, Rosario here. So as we are in the final phases of just the fine fix phase for the sidechain SDK and all the related projects. So when I speak here, I typically mention that there's 4 ongoing projects that are merging into a single release. And that's the effort that Luca mentioned previously. But with all that, just from the code perspective, there's also additional effort that needs to be in place to make it easy for anyone to be able to use our SDK. So Chronic is in process of setting up an environment that will be used for testing the sidechain SDK, and actually would be able to launching the sidechain SDK. And that includes so the environment and compiling the different branches. So we're working off of several different repositories. So some work is on the main chain that's being done on ZenD. We have the sidechain SDK work that's being ongoing in the development branches. And we have the Sphere activity and the CryptoLib activity. So all those different branches will be merged into a single location and being able to have developers easily launch our SDK. And so we had a good discussion. Chronic's going to be working over the weekend, unfortunately, to get this all set up. And we also have some effort from our user experience team. So I'm not sure if Gustavo mentioned this, but we will have a testnet faucet that will be used for sidechain so that we can easily have users, developer users, to get the test Zen so they can launch their test net sidechains. And so that just wanted to mention that just to supplement some of the comments by Luca. As we look forward into entering this new phase of our project, it's a very, very exciting phase. We are seeing things from a different perspective. So we are going to be transitioning to being a bit more developer friendly. And what do I mean by this? I mean having a liaison, having our Horizen developer environment, having the different pieces in place, communication strategies that are focused on developer. So I've identified 4 different phases of our, what I'm calling our developer outreach strategy. And this is still in preliminary, it's not final, as I'm still getting feedback from our different team members. So our first phase is going to be pre-launch, and that's going to be in our parallel testnet. So this is our unofficial testnet. We will have a separate testnet for our sidechain activities. The second phase will be when we transition to our official testnet in preparation to our migration, which is our third phase. And of course, our final phase is when we are actually in mainnet. So I'll go into a little bit of detail just to outline what phase 1 will entail. And then phase 1 will some of the goals of phase 1 from our outreach perspective is to receive feedback from the developer community. And we have actually elicited a survey of our community, developer community, to test our sidechain SDK, because it's such an incredible and critical piece to have external users, external testers to give us feedback. So these we already have quite a bit of list of these what we're calling early adopters of the sidechain SDK. So we're eliciting feedback that will help refine and inform our development. And we're also hoping that in this phase, we see some applications being built using our SDK. This will also help inform a knowledge base for common questions on our SDK and identify need for specific documentation. And we're hoping all this is funneled through the HD, the Horizen Developer Environment, where we will have kick off a sidechain application building competition there, and we'll have more details on this. So we have different departments all coming in and funneling to support this outreach effort. That includes marketing to tailor their communications, so it's specific for developers and experienced groups. So some of the purpose here is going to communicate and expose in a controlled fashion and managing expectations, because this is still a beta preview release. So you'll see social media and HD competition. And from the engineering perspective, of course, we'll have a single point of contact that will answer questions directly about the SDK, and having a reasonable turnaround to answer these questions and holding these conversations. We will also participate in developer demos. So that includes a developer demo that's going to be conducted by by DCG, but also we're hoping to host our own internal webinar where we can showcase and also have developers see the process of how to launch our sidechains and how to start building. And of course, leveraging our academic partnerships for them to start using our SDK, and perhaps focusing on use cases. So there's a lot going on, and I just want to give you a little insight of all the activities that are going forth. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Rosario. Ralph, would you like to add any comments or updates?
I sure do. I want to leverage onto what Rosario just said and emphasize that this is a huge change in the way that we're doing things. It's equivalent to a university graduation. It is a really large change, because for the past 3 years, we've been doing private development and doing a bunch of significant things in the background and wanting our developers to get all the work done, and discouraging community contributions, because every time that there's interaction, it takes away from the development efforts for the sidechains. So if you look on our GitHub, you'll see the sidechain SDK we haven't merged anything to master on that for quite a while. You can look and see all the different branches that have been developed. But if you just look at it quickly, it seems like not much has been done. That's because everything's being done in the background. And as soon as it's published, open source, everything merged to master, and we start encouraging other developers, that means, like I said, a complete change in the way we're doing things. Lots of documentation, encouraging contributions, working together. So this is, I think of it as the next step, a graduation, a big and significant change. So instead of developing and just putting out stuff out there that we know is making good progress, instead, we are going to be doing everything public. That's why we're talking so much about how to reach out to developers and how to have hackathons and everything else. So the visibility of Horizen is going to increase significantly over the next few months within the developer and cryptocurrency community. That's what I've got. Thanks.
Thank you, Rolf. And now let's welcome Rob for the final part in Q&A.
Thank you, Angie. Okay, guys, the first thing I'm going to say is just addressing current events right now. And I'm going to do this in a very soft way, but I think there are things that need to be said anyway. So there's quite a bit of civil unrest in the US, and we're still in the middle of a global pandemic. This is a comment that Rolf made on an earlier team call that we had this week. And I think it's such a good point that I wanted to echo it here. So to act like a bit of a politician, or at least what politicians should be saying right now is we need a message of unity. We're all human. And so, guys, let's act like it. Violence is really the answer. So call for peaceful solutions. But above all, empathy. And many people are suffering all in many different ways around the world, in particular right now in the US. So even the reason why I'm mentioning this is it all circles back to why are we here? And it really reaffirms what we're doing. So as a project, our goal is ultimately, besides the technology piece and besides building products that go to market in different ways, we're trying to bring the world together. So, and we also want to do this by providing opportunities for anyone who wants to productively contribute, in a way where they can gain dignity by doing valuable work and giving people opportunity. And this is something that's just not available all around the world, and even in parts of the US today, it's just not available. And you're seeing these issues fomenting in a way that's just kind of spilling over in a not very positive way. So we need to just acknowledge the reality of what's going on around us and use this to really push what we're doing forward. Now, speaking of pushing things forward, you've heard some pretty fantastic updates already on this call. So big engineering updates. We've released ZenD, the ZenD deprecation successfully, another successful production release. That's always fantastic news. It does get tense behind the scenes whenever you have a new release. And then Zendu Beta. This is the long-awaited technological innovation and ultimately product that gets our technology out there to the world that we've been working on for 2 years. And getting this to market in a way like what Rolf said is it's like we're graduating college or graduating high school. I don't know what level you want to put us at right now, but it's going to mark a significant shift in the way that we do business, because now you're going to have some serious heavy-duty tools for developers to do real things with our blockchain. And this is complementary to some other efforts, like I'll get into shortly, that Rowan mentioned, things with merchant outreach. But there's so much that's complementary that we're doing, and just the way that we're going to be doing things, the way we're conducting business is going to shift radically. So the good news is that we have a targeted release date of the week of the 15th. So not next week, but the week after. That's absolutely exciting news for any of us who have been around here in the community for some time, and you've been hearing the updates, all the way from concept development to white papers that were released, to the alpha that was released last October, to now having a complete product going to market. We're calling it a beta preview, and we're enlisting a first cohort of developers from the community to start testing it right away. So this will be, just the mechanics of it. It will be on this parallel testnet. We're trying to make access to this testnet Zen super easy for anyone. And if it's not easy enough when we launch, please just reach out, ping us on Discord, send us an email, whatever it is, just reach out and we'll make sure you get whatever testnet Zen you need to do what you want to do. we already have over 40 developers signed up for this. So we've started soliciting developers this week. So in a matter of days, we have 40 developers or more than 40 developers. And now we're starting to ratchet that up. I'd like to see about 100 developers start testing our sidechain SDK. Rosario went into some detail about what I think is a fantastic coordinated effort for our developer outreach strategy. It spans all aspects of our organization. So you're going to see us just springing into gear as one organization, not piecemeal elements within the organization, not just engineering, not just marketing, not just UX. All of us are working together for the single purpose of bringing the SDK to market and making it as easy as possible for developers to start using. This will include things like a webinar specifically for developers, and our team is structuring so that we're going to have dedicated support to developers, specifically to developers, so that we can help you launch the SDK and help you start doing some initial app development. We're also looking for corporate sponsorship for contributing bounties and prizes to kick off the sidechain competitions. Hopefully we can kick off the first competition in July. So, fingers crossed on that, but everything's looking good with the HDE launching in coordination with Beta Preview. And we're going to have some companies like Horizen Labs and hopefully some others that we'll announce in short order, actually providing sponsorship to developers that want to start participating right away. Now, circling back to the last piece of this that Rowan mentioned, and as an organization, if you're not focusing on the most important thing, you're not really getting anything done. That's just my opinion of how to do business. But what we are thinking about is a holistic approach to how we're doing this ecosystem development. And one important element of the ecosystem that we haven't really been addressing substantially thus far is on the merchant adoption side. So this, in my head, it kind of was sparked over last weekend when I went to go purchase something online. I won't tell you what specifically or what vendor, but I was pleasantly surprised. I did not realize that they accept Zen until I went to the checkout and I was able to actually use my Zen. So that was just such good news that it just made me realize there are very likely to be hundreds, if not thousands, of merchants that are already accepting Zen for goods and services all over the world just through our partners that we've put together over the years. Partners like NetSense, partners like CoinPayments.net. These are companies that have already been offering Zen to merchants around the world. So the first step is to start compiling who they are and getting that message out to you guys, the community, right away. And to do this in a way that's the information is readily accessible. And then we want to encourage and work with these merchants to truly accept Zen. And ultimately, the way that I see this is we want to cultivate a merchant segment in our community. So thus far, we have many different, you can call them clustered stakeholders within our community. And individuals can represent many different types of stakeholders. You can be a miner, you can run nodes, you can be an investor, you could be a developer, you could be all of the above. You could be someone that just likes privacy. And thus far, we haven't really gone out of our way to cultivate those that would be running businesses that are end users of our cryptocurrency. Thus far, Zen is our biggest product, our most important product. It's already on market, so we need to start cultivating this community. And I would like to see merchants step up within our community and take more of an active voice, not just accepting Zen. We would ultimately like them to really buy into the project, become evangelists themselves, and then partner with us so that we can think about ways collaboratively to go to market together. So that's what I've got so far, guys. It's an absolutely amazing, probably the most fun time to be part of this project ever. And now we have the biggest technological development that we've been working on for years going to market, like I said, not next week, but the following week. This is absolutely amazing. I'll stop here and we can open it up to any questions.
Thank you, Rob. This is all very exciting. And then we've got a lot of questions about the early adopter program. So the first question is, how much experience do you have to have with Java to be able to participate in an early adopter program?
Let's see. So I don't see Alberto here. Luca, please, feel free to chime in on this one, but I'll just quickly take a stab at it. Is being a Java developer is the first prerequisite, but you should also have some understanding of blockchain because, again, this is a beta preview and it will be documentation light, meaning that we're not going to have a whole bunch of robust documentation and a knowledge base constructed already to be able to dive in and start working. We will have elements of the team readily available to help developers, but I would highly suggest that people that are interested not only be Java devs, but be very much familiar with blockchain and what it can do. Please, anyone else? Luca, please chime in.
Yeah, I would simply add that so if you intend to create a simple app, simple application using the same consensus, or maybe let me say deviating not so much from it, shouldn't be too complicated. So even if you have very low experience with Java, should be enough. And this because the SDK that we are shipping comes already with all the primitives and the interfaces to help the developer to let me say realize the application. On the other hand, if the ultimate scope is the one to if the ultimate goal is to create a very complicated application with maybe a totally different consensus or stuff like that, then for sure some more Java experience will be needed. Also because also especially in this case, I would say if you intend to use a consensus that is completely different from Latus. I think that's the answer.
Awesome. Thank you, Rob and Luca. And then the second question is also about the early adopter program. So when will devs hear if they're accepted into the early adopter program for sidechains?
I don't know who wants to take a stab at that, but please, Rosario, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll take a stab. So very soon, actually. So right now we're having the team focused on the beta preview, and you should hear in the next couple of weeks.
Awesome. Wow, that's really exciting. Thank you. So the last question, someone asked this question in Spanish. Can we mine this coin? Okay, well, luckily we have several Spanish speakers on the team. I think Ruben will be the perfect person for this question. Ruben?
Yes, thank you for handing me the question. I will answer this in Spanish pretty quickly. Sí, pues CN es una moneda minable, tiene un algoritmo de consenso de prueba de trabajo y su algoritmo de minado es Equihash. Básicamente se puede minar con GPU o se puede minar con dispositivos ASICs y pues lo más redituable, lo que he escuchado en mi experiencia es que cuando un algoritmo de minado tiene ASICs se convierte más redituable minar con estos dispositivos. And that's it. I just replied to him in Spanish that yeah, we have a consensus algorithm of proof of work and that our algorithm of mining is Equihash. So yeah, I suggest him to start looking at ASICs right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruben. I think I understood like 3 words. That was great. Thank you. That's it. Back to you, NG.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for being here in our Weekly Insider. I really hope to see you next week in our YouTube channel, as well here as in Discord. See you all very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.